Well, guys, if there's one thing to glean from this series so far, when HeroesHearth Esports is involved, it ain't over until it's over. After, what, 34 minutes on Tomb of the Spider Queen, a behemoth of a game, where they were behind but didn't lose a keep because ENDEMIC just failed to get it. They were able to come back, and now putting us 1-1 in the series.
You say behemoth, and all of a sudden I'm thinking Raynor. Behemoth Armor was a pickup earlier during one of our games, and so far we've seen Raynor bans. Do we get Raynor today?
Is there some pepper? That remains to be seen. We do have some curses, though, because we're going to Cursed Hollow. That is an ENDEMIC choice. I thought either Shrines or Cursed Hollow would be the ban. HeroesHearth has banned both of them in the past, but what we are seeing trend now is that second pick is the place to be, J-How.
You know, it feels like it's been that way for a while, but everybody continues to deny it. And I'm pretty sure second place, although it is different now.
It's different.
Because there's more bans. So we'll see if there's any shift in that. I think basically every successful team that we have here in North America has a better win percentage from second pick. So we'll see how that plays out. But Cursed Hollow, obviously a map where we do see more Hanzo. In particular, the boss race, I think that's going to be taken away, especially given the amount of bans that we have early.
He's been banned every game so far.
Genji, does Genji get through this time, though?
Maybe, because of Abathur. He was let through on Tomb.
Ooh.
Didn't win with it, but Biggie put on a clinic like usual. Greymane is another one we have to keep in mind. Tracer.
Where's she at?
I was like, Raynor, but no, he's more like a...
I can't make the little... It's like small guns.
It's pew pew pew. We all know this. That's what the spray says.
How many bullets are in a clip?
What? How many? Just let us know.
Oh, I was kind of hoping you would know.
Well, we've all failed you.
It's somewhere
this
between
day.
0 and 50.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that much.
Yeah, doesn't it differ depending on the gun? Or are you talking about Tracer specific?
Tracer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Raynor has unlimited ammo.
It's true. Mind blown. Raynor, the new meta. Way better. The new Tracer. Confirmed.
Doesn't have to reload.
You know, Raynor could get picked here, and then you pick Exterminator, and then he races down a boss. 50% bonus damage to minions, mercenaries, and monsters. Raised to 100 with Inspire's active.
I'm just counting the little dots on Tracer.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Like 10 or 15, maybe 20.
I'm really glad that we are continuing to talk about this instead of analyze Cursed Hollow.
But we'll get there in the draft.
Which is going to be just any second.
Li Ming, I think, actually makes her way into this. We've seen more Li Ming than we traditionally have, but I think that with Li Ming now, the amount of assassin bans that we've seen, it feels like Li Ming actually should start to show up in more drafts than she already has.
My question is this another Junkrat game? Or was Junkrat more for the wave clear-ish type maps? Though we did see it on Sky. His mind can give some boss control. But it made sense for the last map, definitely, because of his wave clear. He ended up giving the rest of his team some movement. They were less tied down to lanes, more focused on trying to get kills.
Dahaka, I feel, should have higher priority on this battleground.
Gotta have an Abathur ban somewhere in here too, right?
Oh, I don't think Abathur makes it through. If Abathur makes it through, I'd be really surprised. But Dahaka, I feel, is going to have higher priority. But the other hero that I think might come out in the assassin department, there's Dahaka actually going to be first ban. Falstad. We've seen a lot of Falstad in Korea. Not a ton, but a lot more than we would normally see since some of the changes. But globally, and on this battleground, I think that Falstad, this might be the time where we get back into a more Falstad. He's not necessarily a niche pick anymore. He's more of that, well, that we run out of assassins and we need a global.
In seeing a Dahaka ban last week, both ENDEMIC and Octalysis were willing to move into an ETC early.
Yeah.
ETC has a hard time in this meta, so I think both of those teams lost those games, if I remember correctly, but they wanted to have a global for the solo. Stage dive is just tough to pull off with the heroes, the lockdown that we have in the meta right now. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe we don't see that, but we'll see. As globals are very important if you can get them on this big battleground. No Genji. Is this then the straight-up Tracer?
Well, we don't have a Hanzo ban yet, but
Yeah.
HeroesHearth has not they still play Hanzo, but it has not been a high priority for them. They prefer the Johanna, the Blaze, things of that nature. But I feel like if there is a battleground outside of Battlefield of Eternity, this would probably be it.
They have first pick Joe every time, and now with that, I think they're likely to keep that, though Malfurion, if they want to get Tracer. Ooh,
Yeah!
that is such a
He made it
change.
through! Stars and stripes, baby!
Anytime you're ready. And HeroesHearth says, right now.
And I just want, is it Krohn or Arthlon? Who's giving him the pepper this game?
Is it going to be a Rainer's Raider? Is it going to be some Hyperion action? Rainer, his level 1 ace in the hole combos very well with stuns and slows, so expect them, if they can get their hands on someone who gives some slows, like another Thrall, like a Jaina, that's probably going to be something they're trying to take advantage of.
Well, you've got 2 save options. We saw Lifebinder. I imagine that it is still in contention for this game, although Cleansing Flames, depending on your composition, I think it's now going to be more compositionally based, but I think Lifebinder, as we saw in game number 1, definitely has a place. Rainer, the pickup here. Do we get something to complement with that? As we're going to get Yrel, who can provide some slows when she leaps in. Malfurion can provide healing and roots, as we saw 220,000 in healing last game. I don't know if I've ever seen numbers that high in competitive.
Well, you know, when you have 34 minutes in a game, it's time to break some records. My friend let me know, too, that Alex draws it with Lifebinder and Blaze, you can set it on a soft cooldown by going in the bunker. So if it's not necessary, then you can save it. It goes to the 10 seconds. So that was what we saw happen for ENDEMIC on Sky Temple, and then they ended up having, yeah.
Diablo the ban. So we'll see if we play around that Johanna Muradin. We've seen a lot of Muradin for ENDEMIC. The one thing that Johanna does provide is another slow. Muradin also does with the Thunder comp, requires him to be in the area. Obviously, hitting your punish for Johanna gives you that as well, as we see the Thrall ban come out.
Yeah, Rainer is going to have a lot of peel for his front line, but still a lot of lockdown is... He's still Rainer, he can still be squished, and ENDEMIC get Johanna for the first time in this series, and with Diablo being banned by ENDEMIC, for the first time in Phase 2, Ishbu will be on a different tank.
When in doubt,
hook him out.
Yeah, but I've got a feeling. I don't know. Where do we see Ishbu go here? I think Stitches can be played around Muradin. I think definitely the higher priority in most people's compositions. Sure, I think if we see something different,
it could have been
Li Ming.
Because of the slows of Putrid Biome.
That, and then post 16, you've got your slow on your...
But Muradin has slows too. And he is more in your face than I'm going to bring you to my face. And then leave
He takes his face to them. Toss me.
Nobody tosses a dwarf, JL.
Don't tell the elf. Just don't tell the elf and it's fine to be tossed. Greymane. Hero we've seen rise in priority. A lot of camp priority for these teams. No Tracer. Tracer into Rainer. So one of the reasons that we see Greymane sometimes counter Tracer is level 7. You get the extra auto attack range in human form, which does allow you to out-trade. And then, of course, you have the potential to blow up a Tracer and you have a higher health pool. Rainer, level 4, now has his activatable heal, and at level 4 gives you that 25 armor, which is incredibly strong to deal with a pulse bomb. So less priority in those targets, I think, and with this meta, definitely makes it more difficult to pick Tracer into them.
Yeah, auto attacks in general are the bane of Tracer's existence, because it is a lot easier to avoid skill shots. You can't really avoid the right-clicking other than just burn some of your blink stacks to get away from them, or possibly that crucial recall.
I still remember, it's like 2 years ago, Dustin Browder, obviously everybody knows that name. Somebody was tweeting and was like, Tracer's so frustrating to play into, what do I do? And he's like, I just pick Rainer. It was like on one of his like tweet replies, he's like, I just pick Rainer and trade out. And auto attacks do trade out. Obviously this is a different Rainer, but it does make sense. I still remember that tweet because I'm like, I guess it does. When I'm playing Tracer, like I hate being auto attack. It's just like the simplest advice.
Well, with Li Ming, it's very clear that should be Arthlon playing the Rainer. So let's see if he indeed can give ENDEMIC the pepper in game 3.
Our first time to get Raynor let through. That's what Abathur does. He changes the rules in the game, and he also changes the drafts as well here.
Michael Udall back into his Gift of Life build. We'll see if that means another Life Binder. I think it's likely to be the case. It's going to be more tanky-focused Ishbu than what we've seen from a lot of the other Muradin players so far this phase. Not building into Perfect Storm for the lots of damage later on, but having his third win so that should they be fighting for a long time, he can get that increased health restoration.
Even Li Ming going into that Force Armor to make sure to have some spell armor is Arthlon riding an old Cloud 9 mount there. North America still winning their BlizzCon.
Gotta remind people every chance we get that one. When it comes to Raynor having ace in the hole, being able to do 30% more damage, not just auto attacks, more damage in general, combos well with a couple of talents. One is at level 7, being able to get some slows off of your, give him some pepper. And then later on at 16, getting Paint Them Red for your penetrating round. 50% increased damage from that. If they're slowed or stunned, you increase that quite a lot. You're going to get some extra healing from that too, so it also adds sustainability, which I believe we did see Paint Them Red in Europe earlier.
Yeah, we haven't necessarily seen, we've seen Giddy Up at 13, get a little bit more movement speed. I really wonder, because it does combo a little bit with that level 13, but just getting that momentary heal, I don't think it's necessary. And the movement speed we know a lot of teams definitely like. Nice blocking of the skill shots there by Cure to deny a little bit more damage on to those structures.
ENDEMIC sends their Gray main, and Alexstrasza too, but sends the Gray main out to take out the Bruisers. And with that, they're looking at a double camp. HeroesHearth has not touched their camps yet, so ENDEMIC's going to have a little bit of time where they can try to do something with these, but HeroesHearth may have the more impactful timings when we start looking at things a little bit further down the road, like possibly a tribute fight.
It feels so good and so weird to see Jimmy in the game. And good old Stars and Stripes. It's just, you gotta soak it in, Gilly. You gotta soak it in.
I'm doing my best, J-How. Here he comes, and now he's blinded.
Hard to auto-attack anybody when you're blinded, but using the Gray main and composition, they're even using the Dragon Queen here. And this is one way to give some structure advantage as well as some XP. They get this camp. They're going in deep here. Arthlon, he's going to be taken down, and this is full steam ahead. Yrel making her way down, but a lot of minions, a lot of spell armor here, trying to deny them the healing. They take that fort 70% of the way down. ENDEMIC comes out with a clear plan.
When we saw ENDEMIC play versus Octalysis on Cursed Hollow, they got what was not a perfect game, but just about exactly how you want to run it. This is an ENDEMIC favored battleground, and the last time we saw these two teams play on the ENDEMIC favored battleground was game 1, where ENDEMIC took it. But I don't think HeroesHearth was expecting ENDEMIC at all to dive there, but when you have the Dragon Queen, you gotta respect that. Now though, there's no respect for this Dragon Queen, not at all. And despite having a Johanna there, there's not too much she can do in that position.
Well, let's take a look elsewhere on the battleground, because ENDEMIC making use of the Gray main, who has some of the best sieging potential. They've rotated towards the bottom with this comp of Cure and Biggie. Phoenix was doing some damage mid, so they're keeping up their experience advantage despite losing that Alexstrasza. But a clear focus on these rotations, and now they've got multiple members here. They are threatening every structure on this battleground right now.
You know what's so cool too about that dive underneath the fort? HeroesHearth has not been able to get their camps. It has just been tried to survive. Stormbolt's hit. Dansky though still had his warp. Tried to get behind Cure, who was hoping to body block him, but instead Phoenix is going to fall body blocks to make sure that Cure can't get out of here either with the jet propulsion.
Ooh.
HeroesHearth fires back.
Crowan even got a little bit of that splash damage over the wall there. The Gray main didn't quite make it out of there alive, so ENDEMIC being punished for that aggressive rotation, stuck around a little bit too long. Nobody anchoring that point. That's a long walk back now. We also see a little bit of Gray main level 7 action going. Wizened Duelist trying to stack that up.
All right, right. We'll be keeping an eye on those. The focus on bottom lane for ENDEMIC is, of course, their boss lane. But they lost out on the first tribute. They are hesitant to do the same, especially because HeroesHearth now has an experience advantage. But I talked about before, the unstable compound now, having the slows from giving up the pepper and the increased size, trying to get more of that level 1.
The damage is coming out in return. Heals going down there for ENDEMIC as B-Kid walks away for now. BBJ and team holding their ground.
Those roots were so good. Mike could not get into position to heal from that. Now he's fairly low in his health. Has to go into Dragon Queen. We'll see if HeroesHearth can survive this. McIntyre draws a lot of the ire from ENDEMIC whenever they start to put too much pressure on someone else in the back line. He could jump over this if he wants to, and indeed he does, going after Big Impact. Phoenix is gone.
Perfectly played there, and now we're going to see if Kroan can get another reset. There's going to be some damage. B-Kid's going to go down. Kroan looking for more as he lands a full combo there onto Biggie. Should have the Calamity value here in a second. See if he can make up the ground. It doesn't matter as Arthalon comes in. That is not just a rifle, that is a sniper as he gets the headshot there to take down a third member of ENDEMIC.
Things falling apart for ENDEMIC in this early game because now they've lost on 2 tributes and they're going to lose their boss if they can't do something about this. But HeroesHearth getting pretty close to heroic abilities, and if they stay around, this might be staggered deaths that ENDEMIC cannot afford.
Just don't understand. I mean, yes, you're buying time, but that positioning, that threat, now I think they're going to have to concede this. There's no way they can contest this. The sieging of this has not been swift. No Hyperion, Gilly, as it is time to bring in the Raiders.
The call for backup was received. It's just the singular one, but it sticks around all the time now unless you take it out, and then it goes on a 45-second cooldown. It'll be cool to see how Arthalon can micro this. It is more micro-intensive, definitely, to have it, but later on down the road to the upgrade to this Duskwing, you can do some funny things with it.
It's fun. New Rainer, definitely very different, very, very strong. And now we're going to have boss plus potential curse pickup. You can see Johanna on the minimap denying it while we have the boss here. That's going to be a denial, level 10, very close, but with Phoenix showing bottom outside of a Planet Cracker at level 10, there's no denying this. So this is curse plus boss. They will have to deal with a Siege Giant camp in the top, but they did have an appropriate response by pushing out mid. That gives them 10. They still have a camp. That neutralizes the mid lane. So for HeroesHearth, it might just be full on targeting this top lane. And all this does, you get keep wall down, the double boss rotation in another 4.5 minutes. You play another boss, that's keep and potentially more. So for HeroesHearth, this is a major power play here, just 7 minutes in.
Yeah, ENDEMIC held on to that tribute for a while because they knew they needed to get heroic abilities. But by no means does that put them out of the woods yet, because this boss just takes down the fort with HeroesHearth sitting here, clearing out any minions that come their way, clearing out the front wall. It is more than healthy. HeroesHearth is quickly approaching level 13, well in advance of ENDEMIC. Phoenix gets blown up faster than anybody can hope to save him, and now this is getting a whole lot scarier for ENDEMIC, J-How.
Heals go down, and they're trying to hold on, because this could go from bad to worse. Lifeliner is going to be enough to keep Cure alive, and that might have actually just been enough to save the game, because this boss is still extremely healthy. Had anybody else gone down, we might have seen the core threatened behind this as the curse wears off. The boss still plenty of health left to take this down. I don't think HeroesHearth can really do anything. If they can find one pick, maybe. Is this boss extremely healthy? See if they can hold on, but McIntyre and team, they're looking to finish.
Dansky's back. He still has the salvo if he can get into position to scare away HeroesHearth. ENDEMIC trying to move into that position as the Cursed Bullet 2 with the Purification Salvo, and they wanted to go after somebody there. They get the Crowan kill. That's one. Biggie charging after Arthalon, but may go down himself.
This is it.
ENDEMIC tries to save their core, but it is falling so rapidly as HeroesHearth still staying on it despite zoning away Rainer from it, despite getting that kill on Li Ming.
Wow. We go from 34 minutes to 9. HeroesHearth just blasted them. Just straight up blasted them.
With a shot of pepper.
With a shot of giving up, getting the first 2 tributes and then curse boss. Middle lane didn't matter. It didn't matter if they had 10. But the collapse onto that Phoenix, Dansky is a phenomenal player, but he died 4 times that game, and he was a priority target. And the minute they looked for that kill, it was theirs. There was no avoiding it.
I think you can chalk part of that up to ENDEMIC having a very good understanding of Cursed and knowing how fast it can snowball against you. And part of that felt like the panic set in right around that first boss and the timing there, and losing Cure, losing that staggered death, really came back to bite them. And then they had a good stall to get heroic abilities to defend, but heroics are not going to stop you if you keep losing staggered deaths. And the curse and the way that HeroesHearth played that curse out, I think that ENDEMIC wanted to take risks because they knew if we lose keep here, we're still going to be playing from a massive deficit, so better that we try to get something from this, try to stabilize even better. It just didn't work out for them.
Sometimes it's better to just, well, you go with the push, I'll double soak or I'll soak lanes. That was the time where you actually 5-man push. And I think that is very different. That's more of the, we're going for the win. The middle lane was done, the bot lane not so much. It was being dealt with by Phoenix, but that was a 5-man push, a commitment towards the keep. The kill onto Phoenix was the start, and the follow-up there, we've got some good articles out recently talking about when to push and when to do those things. We might be bringing that up later. But that right there was HeroesHearth understanding their win condition around that. And RNG might have been a little bit on their side because that third tribute could have spawned either top or bottom, ended up being top. And getting the boss there and everything that followed up there, that was almost a perfect game there for HeroesHearth.
Well, Jay was talking about an article series that came out this week on our website, playheroes.com/HGC, that talks to some of our pros about important decisions made in the mid-game and how you can take advantage of that. We'll be talking more about that another day, but for now, let's talk about the cheer, HGC cheers, because HeroesHearth Esports, there are got to be a lot of fans out there. We know they have a lot of fans out there, hoping that they can get this win and solidify their positioning at the Western Clash. We are well on our way to 15 million cheers. You guys are incredible in your support of HGC and your support especially of your favorite teams and your favorite players.
I wonder if Western Clash will have the same impact as MSB, because a few of those teams got a little bit of a head start with a little bit of face time, but we're going to have some more faces at Western Clash soon. I'm really looking forward to that, but every week, it seems like it jumps up another mil, another mil, another mil. So the continued support is definitely noticeable.
Yeah, you know, we've talked a lot about Octalis' freedom and ENDEMIC, the triangle of who is going to go between those 3 teams. But Europe, we have a pretty good idea about 3 of the teams, but that Leftovers, a team that came in through the Crucible, might be able to go, has been especially interesting with that big upset over Fnatic. I'm going to be keeping my eye on that team and about who ends up there at the Western Clash from Europe. But for now, let's move on to Game 4 and see if HeroesHearth can claim their spot at the Western Clash by getting one more game win over ENDEMIC.